computer. Okay, Suzanne, you're up. I will make you host. Have fun. We're here if you need me or us.
Thank you. Thank you. And you said I hit what to accept it?
It'll come up. It should come up.
Okay.
If it doesn't, then you're already host. So, and then you should be able to share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, it said you were the host already.
Okay. So share screen. Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
No.
Let's see. Can you now? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ladies. So thank you for joining us tonight. We are going to wrap up our series of trainings tonight with follow-up and engagement. So you guys have got some fantastic tips from Alexa, Gretchen, and Danielle. And this is just kind of to wrap things up. And just I want to show you guys some stats and things in just a minute. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I wanted to know if you think of yourselves as entrepreneurs, because we are a direct sell business. So you actually do own your own business, right? So I want you to think on that as we go through some things tonight on follow-up and engagement. And there are many ways that you can grow your business when you consciously do those follow-up and engage things with your customers, okay? And it's funny because those are the things that are the easiest for us to let go by the wayside. But I want to show you some stats on what happens when you do the follow-up, okay? All right. So we've all heard the fortune is in the follow-up, okay? But I want to show you some stats. So I pulled some different sales statistics from the past 3 and 4 years, and the percentages pretty much stayed the same across, regardless of what year you looked at with sales, okay? And it says, and by the way, I've put a lot on the slides in case anything happens with the recording. So I don't want to just be reading to you, but I am going to read some of these stats because they're just mind-boggling. So I want you to think about these when you think, I don't have time to follow up. I can't do that, and we're going to go over the different ways to follow up. So 48% of salespeople never follow up. 25% make a second contact. 12% only make 3, and only 10% of salespeople make more than 3. Okay. But then I want you to look at where the sales happen. 2% are ever made on the first contact, 3% on the second, 5% on the third, only 10% on the fourth, and 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So I want you guys to think about that as we talk about follow-up and engagement. I know that a lot of you are full-time working moms. You've got, all kinds of things going on with your kids' activities and things like that. But a lot of follow-up engagement can actually happen when you're sitting at the ball field, when you're, they can be done in little spurts of time when you're sitting in the car pickup line at, school every day. That could, you got to sit there in that 15 minutes of traffic. That might be the time that, you're specifically going to do some of those follow-ups. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some of the ways we can do it. Facebook parties, during your Facebook parties, the 4 questions: connected contacts, virtual office contacts, email activity report, your VIP group, vendor events, and out and about. And there's probably more. Those are the ones that I specifically thought of. But I just thought of another one that has to do with your back office. But let's break them down just a little bit, okay? So we've all kind of known during the Facebook party, but are you actively responding to all the posts with comments and not just likes? Do you know that the algorithm builds and helps your relationship with the party and the guests? And if you add a picture, it also drives the algorithm, and which is also going to make more people see the posts, and you're going to get more relationship building and conversations going that way. And one of the famous ways and there's been trainings done on this, is asking the 4 questions, which you can do through Facebook Messenger. You might do it in a text message, depending on how well you know the person. I'm not going to read those. You guys know where you can get those in the pink bubble. You know, you can ask one of us if you've not ever seen them, and we can, you know, give you these graphics to use in your parties. But these are a great way to make sure that you're, you know, following up in your parties. But remember, the algorithms are always going to be higher when you're engaging and you're talking back and forth and answering questions. Okay. Connected contacts. We've all heard about them. We talk about them over and over in the playbook every month. Every single month they're brought up. Okay. And the reason is because they work. Okay. You can use the form that's on TOT, but you can also create your own. I mean, a lot of people use Excel. Here's an example of just I add more categories. It gives me a little more, you know, information. I need a little more information than honestly what the form on TOT gives me. So definitely don't feel like you're boxed in. If there's something that works better for you, use it. Okay. There's lots of abbreviations and acronyms that I use to help me be able to do it quicker. So I just wanted to share some of those. You guys may have some more. If you do, you know, definitely share them. You know, people get cracked up at me, but I never type catalogs out when I'm talking to people, even in Facebook Messenger and things like that. I just always call them cats. So there's just different ways that you can make your note taking quicker. And I just threw the seniors texting code in there because I came across it and I thought it was funny. And I love minions. For those of you that know, I say they're my team is called the Fireflies, and I say minions are fireflies that haven't gotten their wings yet. So, okay, so boards and text replacement. So Danielle talked with us on her call about boards. She told us all about the amazing ways that we can use boards. And another simple thing you can do is text replacement in your phone. I would assume that other versions besides the iPhone have them. But I know in iPhones, you just go into settings and general keyboards and text replacement. And you can literally, you know, you can set up your website in there. And the shortcut for me for my website is all I have to do is type out Cat 1, and that's actually for that one is what it's actually going to take them to is my website, and then for them to be able to view the catalog. So, and you know, in my text replacement, then it's just alphabetized, and I know what the different codes are. So that can save you time and help you in having time to do your follow-ups as well. Okay. Notes in your virtual office. A lot of people don't realize that you can take notes about and put notes about your customers in their contact of the virtual office. Just scroll to the bottom. You'll see it there at the bottom. I've been with 31 for 15 years. I have notes going back at least 12 years. The hostess just wrapped up a party with. I have been partying with her. She's my all-time top hostess. I've been partying with her 13 years. I got a $150 order on May 1st for 4 large utility totes, a couple with the new summer print. And I looked at it, and it was from a customer that I recognized her name. I knew that she's bought from me several times, but I needed a little bit of trigger before I texted her, thanking her, so that I could make it a very authentic thank you, you know, and just go a little further than just say thank you for ordering with me again. So I pulled her name up in my contacts, and there were some beautiful notes about our relationship that we've had since 2016. And I thought, you know what, instead of sending her a text, I'm just going to give her a call. So I called Angie, and we ended up having the greatest conversation. She is such a sweetheart. She's a grandmother, you know, and she was telling me about Mother's Day, you know, and it wasn't a super long conversation, but you could tell that we both genuinely enjoyed it. And so it's amazing how things like that can just go so far into building their loyalty to you. I mean, you're going to be their 31 go-to girl. You know, I know if Angie, she may only order from me once a year, but we have that relationship. So never underestimate what those notes in your virtual office can do. I mean, I absolutely love them. Okay, hold on, I lost one.
Ways to engage your VIP group.
Hey, if you're not muted, please mute yourself. We're getting some feedback. I've got a few people that are not muted, so I'm going to kindly ask that you mute yourself. We're getting some feedback.
Okay. Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Oh, and another thing I absolutely love about the virtual office notes is that the date and time stamps it every single time. So then you can just scroll up and it's in that chronological order for you. Okay. Another thing, and Alexa did a great video and shared this last week. I did a quick video on it as well. She did the video about how we can use our the emails that the home office sends out on our behalf, several times a month that are relative to what's going on in our business for that period of the month. And we can actually go into our email activity report in our virtual offices and see what people clicked on, who they are, and you can generate an email to them from that. It's going to show you their cell phone numbers as long as you have it, in your back office. And that's another way for you then to reach out to them because it's a warm lead. That they specifically clicked on, when Alexa and I, when we did it last week, we were specifically saying they had clicked on things about the spring collection. So you knew that they were interested in, and they had clicked on those prints. This month, this is huge with them sending out, about the dollar enrollment. This is a huge time for you to use the activity report to get those warm leads. If somebody clicked on that, that they might be interested. And if they're not, they may know somebody who is. If you reach out to them, they might say, well, really wasn't looking for me. I'm looking, my niece Sarah really could use some extra income right now. So I was kind of thinking of her, and it's a way for you to then reach out to her niece Sarah. Okay. Our VIP groups, you definitely want to be posting at least once a day. Like I said, you want to drive the algorithms. Don't ever just like a post. At a minimum, you want to love it. Commenting is even better. Those are always going to drive the algorithm higher. You want to use a variety of posts. I just did my monthly team training, and I know these ladies have talked about it too. You don't want to just be business all the time. You want to have fun in your group, post silly things, do lives, just make it broad so that you're learning more about them and they're learning more about you and you're just having fun with it. Because if they're having fun, they're definitely going to be coming to you for their 31 as well. Okay. Those lives definitely drive the algorithm. Let's see. It scrolls and messes me up. All right, vendor events. Danielle just did a big vendor event last weekend. That is a picture of her setup, which is gorgeous. And I know that a lot of people are looking to get out and about again. So mask mandates are going away in a lot of places. So hopefully, there's going to be more and more of those offers going forward. Definitely look for them. You want to do things like take hostess packets and business opportunity packets with you. You want to stand in front of your table if at all possible, because that makes it easier for you to engage when you can walk around. You want to do things definitely like have a prize that you can, if people sign up to get the information, this is key. I always have a note that they must fill it out in its entirety to be eligible, because you get those people walking around with the little stickers and they slap it on every table they go by. And if they're not willing to give you the information you need to really reach out to them, then they're not eligible to win. I always wear a crossbody and keep mini catalogs inside of it. So it's easy as I'm talking to people to just hand them out to them. If you own a 31 shirt, I definitely encourage you to wear it. Oftentimes the other vendors are a great resource for orders, parties, and new customers. I have booked so many parties from other vendors. I did a small vendor event one time that was, there was only about 12 different vendors, and I'm not kidding. 10 of the vendors brought all of their stuff in 31 utility bags. So I always love to see there's always a minimum of a few that will bring their stuff in utility sets. Well, they're a walking billboard for your business, just like you are. And that's a great thing you can talk about during the event. In case you didn't know it, as long as your vendor event costs at least $50, there is a form on TOT that you can fill out. There's a copy of it right there on the bottom in the corner. And you can get a packet, depending on how much you're paying, you can get packets of free catalogs and minis to be able to give out at your vendor event. Okay, so definitely make sure that you check out that form. And this is where follow-up is huge. I asked Danielle, and I can't wait to hear what she says about it in a little bit when we have some Q&A, but I asked her the other day, I said, how did your vendor event go? And she said, it was a lot of work, but she got a ton of leads. And you know why she's so excited about the leads? Because the fortune is in the follow-up with vendor events. Okay. And this is where you have to be comfortable hearing no. You have to be comfortable knowing that you may have to reach out to them multiple times to ever get a response. Because that's just the way it is with vendor events. And some of my most rewarding contacts that have longevity with them have happened through vendor events. And some of them were actually some of the smallest vendor events I've ever been to as well. Okay. So keep those in mind. Out and about, are you being a walking billboard for your business? I mean, that's one of the things I love about 31 is because of what our products are, what we are selling, we are wearing them all the time or carrying them all the time. You know, whether we're at the beach or we're going in the grocery store, it doesn't matter where we're going, we can have a 31 product with us or in our car. And that's being a walking billboard, you know. And so what do you do when you come across that person that asks you about your product? Do you just smile and say, oh, thank you, yes, you know, and then you're done, you know? Or do you share with them, oh my gosh, thank you so much, this is 31, have you ever heard of it? You know, and you engage them in conversation, and you have, you know, minis in your bag or QR codes where you can share about your business with them and be able to get their information from them for you to add them and you to follow up with them as well. That's key. And as long as I give the person the out, I would say 98% of the time, the person gives me their information when I ask for it. If I let them know that if they ever don't want to receive my newsletters or anything like that, that they can always request unsubscribe, and then they would not get my newsletters anymore. And when I give them the out, almost every single time they give me the information. Okay. So don't be afraid to engage somebody. If you go up into the grocery line and there's a person in front of you that has a 31 product, you know, I always ask them about it. If it's a print that I love or a product that I love, I engage them very authentically on what it is I love about it or what it is I like about it. Or if it's an oldie but a goodie, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a vintage 31 product. And they're either going to tell me that they're a consultant, or that they got it as a gift and they don't even know what 31 is, or that they love it, you know, whatever it is, I then continue the conversation because if they're a consultant, I tell them they definitely want to be getting in touch with them because we have a great new summer collection, you know, so I am authentically sending business to their consultant through them. If they don't have a consultant, then it's a great opportunity for me to possibly get a new customer or even book a party. I've booked parties before, guys, in grocery store lines. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're out and about, and don't be afraid to engage with everybody. Okay. All right. So then the next one, let's see. Okay. So now let's look at the sales statistics again. I know I've talked really fast and gone through some things really quickly, and I'll be can't wait for Gretchen and them to share as well some of their tips on follow-up and engagement. But I just wanted to bring the sales statistics back up again, because a lot of times, you know, we don't like to hear no. Nobody likes to hear no. Okay. But what sets us apart in being successful with sales is being willing to hear no, because we know that it's going to get us to the next yes. Okay. We've heard that over and over with direct sales through the years. So the next slide I'm going to show you, it's pretty blunt, but it's Darren Hardy and then Unknown. And I am a huge fan of Darren Hardy. And he says the biggest difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not. So again, are you willing to hear no and not take it personally? I know Sherry Hudsmith used to say all the time that, you know, when the server comes around with the beautiful dessert tray of all these gorgeous desserts on it that you would absolutely love to have, but you very politely pass because either you can't have sugar, or you're trying to lose weight, or, you know, whatever the reason is, it doesn't have anything to do with her, and it's not personal as to why you're saying no to her. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is a business of discipline, I think, and perseverance. So if you ever think, I just can't handle hearing one more no, think about your kids. Our kids know how to wear us down better than anybody. How many times have you actually given in to your child because you told them no 10 times, but they were waiting for that yes? Because they knew if they kept coming back to you, you might eventually tell them yes. Okay. So until a person closes the door, I'll give you an example. I have a customer she's hosted about 3 parties with me so far. I had in my calendar to get with her on a party I touched base with her at the beginning of the spring catalog. She said things were too crazy right now, maybe at the beginning of summer. Well, I put down to reach out to her in May, because I knew the summer collection started then. She had commented on a couple of things where I posted the summer collection in my VIP group. And I was like, there's Tiffany. And I had her in my calendar to communicate with yesterday. I messaged her, which was perfect timing because she had just commented on that stuff. And I said, hey girl, I see you checking out that summer collection. I said, are you ready? And she messaged me back immediately and said, you know what? May is still just too crazy. Let's do June. Okay. So there's an example of 2 times it wasn't good timing for her, but she definitely still wants to party. And so we're doing it in June. Okay. So definitely be willing to do the follow-up and engagement. Okay. All right. And then I tell my daughter this one: entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. All right. Well, there you go. That's it for me. But I know we can open it up for questions. And if Alexa, Gretchen, and Danielle have some tidbits, tips, and things that they want to throw in, I would love to hear from them as well.
I'll throw in with just for the vendor events, because you'd mentioned I had just done a 3-day event. And what I'm going to say is I use the door prize slips from home office because they are so easy to use, they're inexpensive, and why recreate the wheel when they've already come up with a good form. And Suzanne was exactly right when she said, if you're not going to follow up, why bother do the event? So what I do is I take a Ruby Mini, and after the event, I will put all of my door prize forms in the Ruby Mini. And then I'm very much like Gretchen, where I separate them. So I've got the ones who said, I want to book a party, I'm interested in the business opportunity. And I put those just with like a little pink clip, and I will clip those together. And then I've got the ones who maybe just put, I'm interested in information, like keeping up. So basically they want to be on your email list. And I put those on in green. And then I've got my purples who just kind of, I think I call them tire kickers. They just want the free gift. They weren't really interested in anything I was doing. And then what I do is I start with everyone who's super interested in following up. So I take my Ruby Mini with me. I work in the car a lot just because I drive my kids around everywhere. So if I'm picking my son up from work, I know I've got about 10-15 minutes in the car waiting for him. So I will pull this out, and anyone who said they want to be on my email list, I will just add them to the email back in TOT. In Canada, it's a little different. When I add them to my email list, they get an email and they have to opt in. And after I do that, I put a check mark so I know that I have followed up with that person. So I will carry around, before COVID, a huge Ruby Mini just from vendor event contacts. And those people I will follow up with 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. If they wanted the email and I notice they're not on my email list, I will contact them again and say, I'm sending you this email, please accept it. or check that, yes, you want to be on my list to stay in contact. And of course, you want to follow up with anyone who wanted a party or to join your team right away within 72 hours. So if you're booking a vendor event within 48 hours, I always time block or calendar block like an hour or two just to go through those forms.
Perfect. Yeah,
One of the things that I like about the vendor event slips too is after I have a conversation with somebody, because I can't remember details of it and I feel awkward reaching back out to follow up, but I know I just wasted my time if I didn't. I write notes on the back of the slip. And so, for example, somebody's daughter like dropped their lollipop on the floor and they were screaming, and the woman's like, oh, I gotta go because I'm on the way to the gymnastics thing. Then when I follow up and say, hey, I just want to follow up. It was great chatting with you yesterday. Sorry about the lollipop and I hope you made it on time to the gymnastics thing. So I know it's not as cold of a contact to them, but I would never really remember that if I didn't jot down notes. So that's something I learned early on that made my follow-up a little more effective. I love all the tips and everything that you offered. I definitely needed to see the sales statistics of how many times before they order. That was a little illuminating. And I think if we post and ghost on Facebook or anywhere on social media, but we're not actually doing anything beyond that, then, it's a reminder we're leaving all that business on the table.
Definitely. Gretchen, you got anything?
Yeah, I posted on, I did a chat thing and I, much like Alexa and Danielle, I use the green, yellow. I just take the note from them. I know somebody said they have a QR code and they use it with a Google form at vendor events, which is great for me. I don't find that as personable because I can't make any notes on the thing, but I do know that in the hands-free world nowadays, the QR code is just a great way of at least filling out the form. But I take the note much like Alexa and Danielle. I'll take it. I'll be like, oh, great, you got a chance to win. Take the note, and I put green, yellow, or red on the back, or just a G, an R, or a Y. Green means yes, they are very interested. Yellow means they're somewhat interested, and R means forget about them. Thank you very much. And then I will put them in an Excel spreadsheet. And then this way, when I'm, Google Drive, if I'm out and about, I can just pull up the vendor event from the Google Drive. I do love and I will be 100% authentic here. One of my weaknesses is I do not utilize the virtual office email enough. I just don't. And I need to, it's funny. I don't use it enough. And that's really sad because, you can actually see where people click. You can see what they're clicking on. You can follow up with that. So I will have to, that's just definitely something that I say every time I'm going to do this. And then I don't. So y'all hold me accountable. That's my goal for the fiscal year, is to really utilize that email report in our virtual office. Cause I don't, and I know that I should. So that's just a waste of my money if I don't. So every time it's said, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. So, okay, y'all hold me accountable starting June 1st. You can text me. Did you go through your email report? We're like, oh, but I mean, that's an easy way, y'all. Like, you pay for, here's the thing, right? You pay for the money for the website and you pay for the money for the subscription. And if you don't use it like you can, then you're wasting that money. So I'm wasting money, and I don't like to waste money, at least on this kind of stuff anyway. So that's going to be my goal. But I love the follow-up, and vendor shows are where it's at. That actually started my business, not even kidding. I had no party, like back in 2008. I did a vendor show. One person booked a party, and that's what started my business. So if you are sitting there saying, I don't have any people and I don't know, go do a vendor show.
I did it. I tracked parties from a vendor event one time. Like you, I think I got 2 parties from that event. It was a very slow event, but I got 2 parties from it, and I tracked for 2 years of booking after booking after booking that came from that one booking at the vendor event. but it led to parties that kept going for 2 years.
I'd say 15 years later, I still have parties from that vendor event, from that one person, just because of the expansion still to this day. Because some of my hostesses are still hostesses from there. So can't get them to join me for Save My Life, but yeah, they like to do one every fall.
My hostess, Teresa, that I just closed one with last month, I've been partying with her for 12 years. And she is my all-time host. She hosts 2 parties a year. She booked off of a catalog party, and she lived in a county over. And so if I had just taken her order that the girl brought and never followed up or called her, I would have never had the relationship that I have with her now. She's a dear friend, and she hosts she hosts twice a year with me regardless. So, and that's because I followed up with her.
Does anybody have any questions out there? You did a great job, Suzanne. Thank you so much. I know, like I needed to hear it again. Danielle, somebody did ask about our boards and our training for last month. So I think when we get back, we'll do like a rerun of the training, and then
I did
we'll
retape it as
Oh, you
well.
did?
So
Okay.
I did. I'm trying, I don't know. It didn't convert very well. So now I'll have to retape it again.
Okay.
I'll know it off by heart though, so it'll flow really well. But
I was gonna say, I
do-
can help you. I can help you if you want, and we can retape it, and we can go from there, and then send out all the boards. I just didn't want to send out any of the information to somebody who hasn't like unpost it, because some people haven't seen it, the training. So
yeah.
Okay. So
okay.
Any questions for Suzanne or Alexa or Danielle or I? Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Early night.
Hey, Gretchen, I have one actually.
Okay, well.
What is your follow-up system? I have used, mine's actually writing it on my catalog, or my calendar. I've tried this, the file folder, I've tried online.
I think you have to decide like what's best for you. So like for my part, I have a party folder, like literally like this is my, nothing. I mean, it's just a notebook, and this is my party folder. And you can see here's all my potential parties, my potential parties for fall. These are just for fall. I already have these guys have already said yes to a fall party. I just don't know what date yet. And then I have follow-ups for my my dream builders in the back of my notebook. So I have that. Listen, you have to find what works best for you. It's taken me 15 years to finally figure out like this works for me. If I ever lose these, I'm screwed. But they're in the safe at night, so that if it burns, I'm in trouble. If the house burns down, I won't lose anything. You think I'm kidding? Like I literally have a safe down here. I put them in every night. I'm not losing my business. And it'll be really sad if I ever get robbed. Somebody will think it's really a lot of stuff, and they'll open it up and it'll be a book bag. But I'm not kidding. Like they go in a safe. I'm not even playing. Y'all are probably laughing at me, but I will never lose my book. So everybody has a different way of doing that. Like seriously, everybody has a different way of doing it. You have to find what works best for you. I know people that are like use Trello. I know people that use Google Docs. I know people that use boards, and then I know other people that like me use like books, and I know other people that use calendars and paper calendars or their phone. Like you have to find what works best for you, because I guarantee you, Danielle, Suzanne, and Alexa, the 4 of us, each of us have a different way of doing it. So, but yeah, I have a safe, not kidding. I'll go find it. I'll go show it to you. It's like
I have the binder system.
But I have that where I have my list, and then I have to put the follow-up under that certain month. Okay, you got to follow up with these certain people. Otherwise,
and there's nothing wrong with that. I know like Lois Burkholder taught it that way. Like she uses a binder and has like 1 through 31, and then each of the months.
I don't do
if
that.
if it works for you, but if it doesn't work for you, keep trying, because eventually you will find something. That's my suggestion. Like I know that's, but honestly, like, I mean, Danielle was just holding up her binder. I don't know what Alexa does. She's probably, knowing Alexa, she's probably technical. And Suzanne's probably paper-based like me. So we're all gonna have some, everything. You just gotta find your niche. So
And I was gonna say, if you are a pen and paper girl, stick to pen and paper. If you're an electronic girl, stick to electronic. There's
Don't
an
stress yourself out trying to
Yeah.
convert to what somebody else is doing if you find
Right.
something that's for you.
There
That's
is
what
a
I've done.
list app too that is really helpful called Tick Tick. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You can download it. So if you had someone who said, I don't want to party now, but I want to have one in the fall, you can actually scroll through until say August and put them in your to-do list in August. And on that day it will come up. So that's really easy. And it's on the technical side. That wouldn't work for me because I'm a pen and paper girl.
I do reminders in my, oh, sorry, Alexa. I do reminders in my phone too, if it's that important, but honestly, like, I tend to ignore my reminders. So just if you're gonna do that, make sure that you like do it. So go ahead, Alexa. Sorry about that.
I actually don't do technology on this kind of thing because part of writing it down is kind of putting it somewhere in my brain. And it keeps me kind of going back to it. Plus, I just like to be able to grab a notebook and go. And I kind of have a business binder where I keep everything I need to help an insider close a party. So maybe a copy of the persolation guide. I have my party sheets so I can keep track of what's going on at each party. And it's just different sections, any projects I'm working on with the team, anything I'm working on with home office. But then there's a whole section on my connected contact sheets and follow-ups. So I keep a running hostess lead list and a consultant lead list. And that helps me because it doesn't matter if when I did the date thing, I'm such a mess. Like, then I'm like, I'd say, oh, I'm going to follow up on the 27th. And then I'd forget on the 27th or something would happen. And then be like the 30th. And then I'm like, wait, I missed a follow up. When's the last time I did it? Where did I put that form? And like forms were all over the place. And yeah, so that didn't work for me. I know somebody who had better luck with the month. So they knew, oh, I need to follow up in this month. And then they worked through that. I would still lose them. So I just keep a continual list, and I made, I just have like a sheet I printed out that has a lot of space, similar to the connected contact sheet that I think we've all shared with all of you guys that we made, where it's like the date you want to follow up and any notes and stuff. And I just go through there. And if it's a party lead, I do highlight a little section of it in a certain color. And if it's a potential sponsoring lead, then I highlight that in a different color. And then I'll do a customer in a different color so that I know to go back and write a thank you or follow back up again when there's another kit. So with the dollar launch, I go back through all my connected contact sheets, all my lead things, and I should be looking for the green for money. Sorry. No, green is for parties. And then I do the pink to bring them into the pink bubble for sponsoring. But I go back and look through all my pinks, and those are going to be the ones I'm going to reach back out again. And then I write the date that I did it. So that's kind of how I do it. But with vendor events and things where I'm creating it, I utilize that notes section in our contacts in our virtual office. Because sometimes someone will email me and I have no idea who they are, or they'll text me and they're acting like we just saw each other yesterday. And I mean, that could have happened. I don't even remember yesterday half the time, but you can search by phone number, you can search by email, and then I look to see what notes they are. And that'll always tell me, oh, you met them at that sale 2 months ago kind of thing. Yeah, that was a little long-winded. Suzanne, do you think you could stop sharing your screen? I think I'm about to go into the puppies or.
Stop share. There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. The puppies were just like going back and forth, and okay.
I'm sorry. They told me to do that a long time ago. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get a picture of all of us. We can get more questions if we need to, but if you are not live, go live for us, unless you're really busy. Okay, we only have one page. That's good. Okay. Hey, Stacy. Hi.
Hey,
okay,
Stacey.
Jody, you look like Tom from there you go. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Like what is that?
Home improvement.
Home
Oh,
improvement.
from Home Improvement. Yeah.
Home
right.
improvement. And
Nice,
I
yeah.
love it when people just have their noses and above, because I'm always like, you look like Tom. Okay. All right. On 3, we're gonna smile. Hopefully, or you don't have to, it's up to you. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good deal. All right, any other questions? That was a good question, Suzanne. Yes, Stacy.
My question is about the notes. So I utilized it when I started and I would make notes, and I haven't figured out, and maybe I just don't know how to do it. I haven't figured out a way to search the notes. For instance, sometimes I too do not remember people's names. So like if I drive by a certain neighborhood or like a business and I think, oh my God, that lady had a party, I need to follow up with her. I'll try to just search like random notes that I had made, like realtor, blonde hair. Like I'll just like make these like little notes, but I haven't figured out a way, unless I remember their name, how to find that person. Are you following me?
Yeah, so you're saying like you're in the search, like if you're just out and about and can't remember the person's name, you can't pull up their notes because you don't know how to pull them up. So
right,
could you filter by address, or could you filter by like ordering time? So because Suzanne, so what she's saying is like when you go into your notes and if you don't have that person's name, how do you find them? And so she's saying like search by like something inside the note.
I don't think you can search within the note itself.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, it's just the contact information.
Right.
Stacy, I sympathize with you. My memory is just so bad now, and it isn't so much, oh, I see them, I don't know who they are, but I think I'm supposed to contact them. It's even things where I say, oh, I'm going to run that by, or I'll get that catalog to you, and then I completely forget. So there is a calendar in my big business binder that I described, but I have to have a smaller calendar that I can carry with me, because I will literally get to that next light and jot it down on my to-do list that I check frequently. And I also have to write on my calendar, and I use erasable pens, color-coded erasable pens, and have them with me all the time because I forget and I need to jot them down, or I did it really sloppily. And then every time I see the messy writing, it freaks me out. So I have to erase it. So I have all kinds of little issues I'm working through here. But that's really, I mean, I know a friend who always keeps a little teeny tiny spiral top notebook in their purse or bag, no matter what size they have, because they have to write things down all the time, and they're flipping through the notebook like you see a police detective at a crime show, flipping through their notes of, no, I talked to you, what day was that? And they're flipping back, remember I saw you here. Like she literally writes everything on that little notebook. So I think we just have to find the little things that are gonna work for us, and also just remember we're human, and I ain't getting any younger, and I don't think my memory is gonna get better. So
I feel like we need to make little notebooks, like the detective notebooks, like you said, instead of putting criminal minds or something on it, we'll put 31 minds and it'll be like our little cheat sheets.
Yeah.
I wonder if the home office, if it's something that we requested, if it's something that they could just add, that we could search notes.
No.
Let's wait on that.
No.
We have like 100 other things that come first. That's not it.
And the thing about that system is we've patched so many things together over the years and combined so many things, and we didn't own that system. They were a vendor, but then we became one of their bigger companies. So we joined with other companies and kind of took over their company. And every rewrite was costly. And every time any of the individual companies wanted to rewrite, it affected everybody. Then we had to expand technology on the front end. And then we had inventory systems and the shipping system. So this old system is literally held together with duct tape. And anytime a change is made anywhere in it, it gets a little rickety. Now we have new IT guys that are it's getting so much better as they slowly move out of that. But we have to get so many other things that I would love to be added, like being able to add a catalog to the order for an extra charge, just little things that'll help our business be better. But I always love to share. It sounds like it'd be easy to add a field or do a dynamic, but you'll bring the whole house of cards down.
But that's actually really helpful because I never really understood why our back office system seems so
Antiquated.
dated.
Yeah.
It is.
It
like,
is.
I
It
didn't
is. It's
know
literally
that
what,
information.
probably 12, 13 years old.
And
Like,
it is way better than it actually used to be.
Yeah.
mine was an
and
Excel
our-
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I used to-
and the virtual office, like what we can do for reports that we can run are a little bit better. There are some things that I suffered. So you'll notice like that my husband will say like, oh, the data doesn't match on the different fields when we're pulling crazy reports that I'll pull sometimes. But you know, we've come a long way. TOT, as awful as TOT is, it used to be.
It was a blog. I used
Yeah, it
to,
looked like our virtual office. It was just basic, and I would check every
literally
week
was a
if
blog.
anything new was on, and nothing was there. And I'm like, oh, I wonder when they'll put something on TOT. So we are getting better, and but yeah, it's almost like that. And I used to laugh when people would say, well, can't they just run out to the warehouse and get a different bag for me real quick? And I'm like, yeah, girl, no, they can't. So.
yeah, it's tough. It is definitely an antiquated system, and they know it. They know that there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. So yeah, I wouldn't.
And we just had bad luck with it too. I remember we were all geared up to switch, and I've been on this committee to help get the like what features we want, everything. And there was a whole new vendor, and it was like going to be this big reveal. And then the business that we were going to use went out of business. And it's just like we've just had horrible luck with it. Sorry.
It's getting better.
Yeah, little trip down memory lane there.
We literally, TOT was a blog, and I'll never forget. I'm sure Suzanne and Alexa may remember. I know. But it was like this little tab, and it said leader on it, like director. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait till I'm a director, right? And so I became a director. I clicked on the tab, and it was last updated. I joined in 07. It was last updated in 03, and it said, congrats on being a director. And I was like, that's it. That's why I waited. Like, I couldn't wait to be a director. And all it was a congrats, you're a director. And I'm from 2003. And I was like, what?
That's
So,
like the kid from the Christmas Story who was like trying to get his little orphan Annie decoder ring, and he was eating all that cereal or whatever, and he finally gets it, and it says drink more Ovaltine or
yeah, that's what it was like. It was like, you're a director. Congratulations, John. Like, this is so disappointing. So like, yeah, it was literally a blog. It had like 2 tabs. So we have come a long way. We still have a long way to go.
Wow, we
So,
really kind of went off the rails on that one. Sorry, Stacey. Look at the
Good old
box
memory.
you opened there.
memory lane, Stacy. Thanks a lot. Any other questions? Good job. That was a good question.
Oh.
Stacy.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hey,
I just had to give you a comment about following up because it just happened to me today. So I love the slide with the reminders about like how you have to reach out like 12 times to get people to like answer you, and how you're not bothering them. It's just life and they're busy or whatever. So I've had this girl that I've been talking to for a year about signing up, and every month, like clockwork, I would reach out and just say, hey, just want to see if now's a good time for you. And I didn't do my follow-ups like at the time I usually do them, like last week. And like today on Facebook, she's like, oh, I decided to become a 31 consultant, but like not with me. And I was like, oh, what if I had followed up last week like I was supposed to? Like, oh my gosh, so I didn't ask, so somebody else did. So I should have followed up. So just to light a little fire, it happens to people all the time, but it lit a fire under me. And guess what I did today? I followed up with all my people that I was supposed to follow up with last week. So just little reminder, follow-ups do make a difference because I didn't ask, so somebody else did.
Yeah, worse than that, when you run into one of your former hostesses in Columbus, Ohio, and you're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm here for conference. And you realize, oh, she joined someone else's team.
Been there, done that.
But I was just like, surely, I'm like, what are the chances of you being in Columbus, Ohio at the same time I'm at a 31 conference? She's like, I joined 31. Like, denial.
And I promoted, and I'm a director.
I drove
walk
my
in the
car
street
off the road
dressing-
once,
You drove
looking
your
at the pink box sitting on my neighbor's front doorstep. I was
Uh,
driving down the road, I was like, and I drove off the road.
Oh.
I used to ask at meetings, I would always ask how many people in the room were offered the opportunity, and it's never even 50%. Over 50% of the people in the room who are consultants at the time were not offered the opportunity. They became a home office lead for somebody, or they asked themselves. When I joined, the girl was new. She didn't have a clue how to even sign me up. I literally called the home office and told them to put me under her because she didn't know what to do with it. So if we don't ask, somebody else will. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay. All right, y'all. I will stop the recording then. And